Hi, my name's Flossy Rocks, and this is Siren the Step Van, and I am trying my best right now to transition from van life to cabin life.
Good morning from the campground I didn't expect to find myself in. At least it's quiet and I had a good night's sleep because I'm gonna need it for today's adventures.
Cabin hunting has been hard, especially when you have a small budget and a high list of things that I'm looking for. However, I am willing to be patient and look at some amazing places. So this week we've got 2 properties I'm going to look at. I'm very excited and I'm learning a lot. First of all, it's amazing to have a real estate agent who's been willing to come to the middle of nowhere, be picked up by random strangers in a boat and head to some place in the middle of nowhere off-grid.
I can't wait till I'm flying along the ocean, definitely not this fast, to show you the beautiful inlets and coves where the forest literally touches the ocean as it sparkles in the sunlight. To bring you into how the ocean smells as the salty air whips my hair around.
The first place you fall in love with is probably not going to be the first one. The first place I fell in love with actually sold a year and a half ago. And so I wasn't in the position to actually even be ready for that when that one was on the market. And so all of these other ones I've still been comparing to that.
The seemingly endless passages and channels between islands looking untouched, but holding in their depths secret history of life, times gone by, and the indigenous peoples of the land, and the creatures who've always been here. Coming into this quiet cove, it's protected, there's a kelp forest, and I knew I had fallen in love. I tried so hard to remain objective while looking around. What needs replacing? What needs upgrading? Can I see myself living here?
So some of the things that I'm looking for in a remote and rural off-grid property is space. Space where I can do a fire cooking, fire setup, fire sauna, fire hot tub, kitchen outdoors where I can do preserving and canning and high tanning and hunting, animal processing, fish processing, so that there's separate space from a living space to project cooking space. I would really like it to have a cabin that looks quaint but is in really good shape. Something that potentially I have the skills to renovate, do up, or do some interior design to make it a little bit of my own. Anyway, that, some land, some forest access so I can go foraging, places that are close to the woods and the wilderness in the middle of nowhere, places also that I can have some of you guys come and stay with me, to come and have a getaway. My Patreons, of course, I'm so excited that they will get first access to come and have a little adventure with me. So if you want to be there when that happens, join my Patreon now. The link is here. I'm giving my Patreons updates more real time than what I'm putting on YouTube. So the first cabin I had fallen in love with, like absolutely fallen in love with. And there's a problem when you fall in love with something that you sometimes are unable to see the things that might not work, or unable to see where the things you actually want are slightly different to what you're looking at. Anyway, asking the realtor the right questions, walking around the house is exciting. Looking into each room and picturing where my office is going to be, where I'm going to edit videos, where I'm going to do crafting, where I could set up my pottery wheel, where I can make pottery to sell or share with you guys and my Patreons. Things like that I mentally move into a place when I'm looking at. And this place I had fallen in love with. The view, stunning. The location, you know, sometimes you romanticize a place for what it looks like and what you could imagine it to be, and you kind of have to do that to keep yourself going through the process. The waters, places I can snorkel and dive, places I can bring other people to swim and teach them about marine creatures, marine life, and the things around us. The first property I had fallen in love with so much, I wanted to be mine. I had already called myself the Wharfinger, had started dreaming up names for the property, had told all my friends about it.
These moments when you're walking through a place, it feels real to imagine your life here, to be immersed in the smells and routines that come with when you're in a place like this off-grid. This bay captured my heart, as did the cabin. The views, in a way, it's a slice of nature that took my breath away. A place full of magic, cabin life that would draw me in and steal my heart if it could. I could see myself here in a quiet respite of the bay, launching a kayak or wading through the shallows looking for treasure or nudibranch.
I wanted someplace with privacy, to build things, to have a construction workshop, to be able to put tools, to grow a really big garden, to be able to be self-sufficient with my food, to plant wild food for the creatures around so that there's a food forest. I hope to do the same sort of thing with the ecosystem in the water. If there's too many sea urchins, I can protect my kelp forests, that kind of thing. And I'll be in those places diving and hiking all day, so I'll be able to see the changes throughout the seasons.
The next day began with a very bumpy ride on another boat to another off-grid island to look at a second cabin. This place was super quaint.
Looking at this second property, it was almost immediately evident, and my heart broke. All of the pictures that we'd seen online showed nothing of this. To be able to see up at a creepy neighbor staring down at us from a cliff top above, or a cottage that you could see that was on somebody else's property right out the bedroom window looking directly into my bedroom window, is too close. I would live in the city if I wanted neighbors that close, not off-grid in the middle of nowhere. I want to be able to have the space to share space with friends, to create community, to create infrastructure, resource development, whether it be food or places we can build things, to support the community that I want to grow and have around me.
Hand-built, with thick hand-milled timbers, a beautiful ocean view, but it was really tucked into the rocky crevices of the foreshore, which unfortunately had nothing more than a thin layer of dirt accumulated from the falling debris of the trees around. Not really enough for a proper garden. Full of character and quirky charm, as most old hand-built cabins in off-grid places where there is no hardware store, where everything you want you have to build yourself. It has imperfections and idiosyncrasies, some of which were more glaring than others, like the gaps between the rocks and the fireplace edges that would create draft around the fireplace. My main interest was in the bay at first, and whose structures were whose, who had rights to what, and it was immediately obvious that there were suddenly very close neighbors right along the shoreline in this little spot. Cabins overlooking, houses looking down, all directions. There was very little privacy.
Yeah. But there's no plug or...
At least it has beach access via this rickety old-looking ladder, I thought.
Sometimes an ocean view at the price that I can afford doesn't equate to worth it when I sacrifice privacy in the places around me. This was a gorgeous place to view and hand-built by local residents with big, thick, hand-milled timber about this thick. It would have been great and warm in winter. It would have also been a lot of work to maintain and keep up. The quaintness about it drew me in, but sometimes a picture sells a different story to what you see in person.
I know, beggars can't be choosers. The quaint fireplace, the gorgeous view looking out over to the ocean in the little harbor, old fireplace for cooking that warms up the space in two different places. This is the kind of thing I am actually looking for, but I want to make sure that I can stamp my own mark on it and be able to keep my head above water / warm during winter, whether it has double glazed windows or single, whether the living spaces are adequate enough to accommodate guests. Are they accessible? Maybe this ladder is not the best if I'm having some of you all come and visit. Still, the way it's built, 2 little tiny towers overlooking the ocean, are gorgeous. I would definitely need to upgrade this electrical system. Maybe even twice as much wood storage. There's quaintness everywhere to be looked around. Character in oodles. But it's the neighbors that are my main concern.
But I think that's the neighbors, and that's too close for me. Oh, okay, yeah. No, but that's the main driveway. This is the main driveway, isn't it? Or did we come from that direction?
Privacy is a key thing for me. I want to be able to invite you all without having to be embarrassed or have fights with the neighbors about cleaning up their stuff that's blocking the shared driveway. This is actually a bit of a fire risk. I want to be able to do things in private, hang out with you around a fire without worrying about our neighbors hearing the entire conversation as it echoes up the rock walls.
The neighbor situation, too close for comfort.
The sea breeze is beautiful, and it wisps away 1,000 sins. But you really have to look at places like this with a realistic eye for the future. Will it work? Will what I want be possible here? Do I have the skills to maintain a building like this? Is it going to be warm enough in winter? Was it only really designed for 3 seasons of the year? Is it structurally sound? Am I looking at a red herring or a diamond in the rough? On a day like this in the middle of summer, everything looks beautiful and shiny and inviting and wonderful. And then it's those moments that you have to imagine yourself in the depths of winter. What would this look like then? Are all of these rocks going to be covered in ice? Will the snow create slippery paths? Will the wind howl through here at a speed that is uncompromisingly brutal? Will it be pleasant? Or will I just want to stay inside and hide away? What kind of access to the forest do I have? What are the neighbors
This place is beautiful. It is full of charm and character. Like, there is so much personality, but there is so little privacy because there are so many neighbors just here, right over here. And for all the things I want to do, I don't want to be constantly watched by all my neighbors. I'm an introvert. I want my privacy, and I'm so glad we came here, and it's gorgeous. But no.
The wind here is from the direction where it could bring enormous weather in, pounding the shoreline.
I think me and your kid would get along.
Yeah, we had this experience down we were at Horn Lake. We're walking along in this butterfly.
You'll have to tune in a couple of weeks to get the update about what is happening with these cabins. My purchase, my plans, my goals. It's a bit of a stressful story. I'm going to show you a different tiny house next week, and then we'll come back to these cabins the week after. So thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed coming to look at some off-grid places with me and starting to dream of community creation together, things and resources for homesteading that we can plan together, homesteading that I know takes work and isn't something that just is this glamorous thing on the internet. If you liked it, please give this video a huge thumbs up, hit the notification bell down below. Did you know you can also hype this video if you really enjoyed it to share it with other people who might not have found it otherwise? It means a lot to small creators like me. And if you wish, you can join my Patreon or purchase a tarot reading from my website. All of the links to my shop, my Patreon, and my website are in the description of the video below. I hope you all have an amazing week. Thank you again for your support. I can't wait to read your comments and what you think about these places. And I'll see you all next week. Bye.